On behalf of the African Union Commission, I am very pleased to welcome you to this conference to mark the 10-year implementation of the African Union security sector reform policy framework. And I am pleased as well to moderate this opening session.
First of all, I want to tell you how happy I am to see
réunir ici pour
possible for us to meet here this morning to celebrate
de l'adoption de ce cadre politique de l'Union africaine pour la réforme du secteur de la sécurité qui malheureusement n'a pas encore rencontré toute l'audience qu'il aurait dû recevoir, faute d'avoir été encore suffisamment disséminée et diffusée. Nous savons tous que aujourd'hui, j'en reparlerai dans mon invitation tout à l'heure, les questions de sécurité constituent un enjeu toujours plus d'actualité sur le continent africain, malheureusement souvent pour des raisons assez dramatiques ou en tout cas préoccupantes. En tout cas, l'African Security Sector Network, que j'ai l'honneur de présider et qui a travaillé depuis une dizaine d'années à la promotion de ce cadre, mais qui avait été aussi en amont été impliqué dès 2007 dans son élaboration. Nous savons que le cadre a été adopté en 2013 et aujourd'hui il s'avère nécessaire sans doute de réfléchir à sa mise en œuvre afin qu'il bénéficie davantage, notamment aux populations. Jusqu'ici, nous avons surtout retenu une approche dite par le haut plutôt qu'une approche par le bas. Et tout l'enjeu aujourd'hui va être de faire en sorte que les populations et les communautés puissent bénéficier d'une gouvernance de la sécurité qui se fasse avant tout à leur bénéfice. L'African Security Sector Network remercie de manière extrêmement sincère l'Union africaine pour son accueil aujourd'hui et pour la collaboration qui nous lie depuis un grand nombre d'années désormais et remercie également le programme Just Future qui est mené grâce au soutien du ministère des Affaires étrangères des Pays-Bas qui permet aujourd'hui de développer une approche centrée sur la sécurité axée sur les personnes. Vous entendrez de nombreux représentants qui travaillent aujourd'hui sur ce programme et qui souhaitent aujourd'hui interagir avec les institutions continentales. Voilà, je vous remercie.
Le sujet qui nous réunit est extrêmement important et je dirais pour commencer que toutes les fois qu'on se réunit pour parler de la réforme du secteur de la sécurité, ça veut dire deux choses. Soit qu'on intervient trop tard, parce que ça veut dire qu'il y a un problème, et en général, ça rend la tâche encore plus difficile. Soit qu'on intervient tôt, et c'est ce qu'il faut faire. Je crois qu'il faut inscrire la réforme du secteur de la sécurité dans le cadre des efforts globaux, des efforts d'ensemble que nous menons pour la prévention justement des conflits. Et cela me paraît être extrêmement important. Et 10 ans est donc une bonne période pour prendre faire l'état des lieux et envisager évidemment les perspectives d'avenir, mais aussi évidemment prendre fait et cause de tous les défis qui se posent encore dans cet effort absolument important, qui est souvent, de mon point de vue, le reflet disons, quand on veut prendre le pouls d'une nation, il faut s'interroger sur l'état de son secteur de la sécurité. Hein. Et donc, c'est important que nous nous retrouvions ici pour faire cet exercice. Mais avant de commencer, permettez-moi de reconnaître évidemment la présence parmi nous de son Excellence, mon cher aîné et cher collègue, le Dr Mohammed Ibn Chambas, the African Union High Representative for Silencing the Guns. Let me also acknowledge Dr Niagalé Bagayoko, Africa Security Sector Network Chair, esteemed representatives of regional economic communities and regional mechanisms, esteemed representatives from the diplomatic community, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to thank the African Union for organizing this timely event and for inviting the UN, alongside partners such as the African Security Sector Network and the Just Future Alliance. This meeting provides us all a unique opportunity to discuss the successes, challenges, and perspectives for the future related to the implementation of the security sector governance and reform processes on the African continent via the AU SSR policy framework. Over the last decade, the global landscape of armed conflict, as well as the dynamics on the ground, have changed drastically. Both the last report of the UN Secretary General on strengthening SSR in 2022, as well as the new agenda for peace in 2023, highlight the new challenges we face in sustaining peace and security. Although we are still focused on promoting peace and preventing conflict, it is also clear that there is a changing nature of armed conflict, with a stronger role for non-state armed groups, terrorist activities, intensified local and regional dynamics on the ground, as well as an increase in unconstitutional transitions. Security sector governance and reform should be a key element of the political processes of states emerging from conflict and of the strengthening of the rule of law institutions. In this context, SSGR should be addressed early on, as it plays a key role in different phases of the conflict cycle, including in peace building and sustaining peace, but also related to conflict prevention, as well as the stabilization and post-conflict reconstruction. SSGR support should go beyond just conflict-related settings. Its processes support governance to develop representatives, effective and accountable security sector governance institutions that emphasize the security and justice needs of the population and facilitate sustainable development. However, this is not, and we all agree, an easy process. It must deal with many challenges and sensitivities, as many actors are involved with different priorities and power struggles. How can we deal with these challenges and sensitivities? How can we provide optimal support to countries and populations? And what role can the discussions play during this conference? I will try just to provide a few suggestions. And let me highlight three key guidelines, guiding principles that can contribute to develop successful SSGR processes based on principles mentioned in the new Agenda for Peace, as well as the UN Secretary General's report on SSR, strengthening SSR, and the AU SSR policy framework. The foremost guiding principle is trust. This is the cornerstone of the security sector system, robust security institutions hinge on integrity, accountability, and transparency. These elements are essential to create trust in national institutions. In addition, trust between governments and their people is necessary to have functioning societies. The second guiding principle is national ownership. As the AU SSR policy framework also highlights, this entails national responsibility and commitment. It encompasses the allocation of human and financial resources. A strong political leadership and a clear political will of national authorities are essential for the success of SSGR processes. Political buy-in, engagement, and planning are also an integral part of larger peace-building and development strategies. Now, the third and last principle refers to inclusivity. This means giving greater attention to the security and justice needs of all people, women, children, and the youth. A people-centered approach to SSGR is crucial for sustaining peace. During this conference, it will be important to share experiences and build on the successes and challenges to develop recommendations for SSGR implementation in the future. When doing so, it is vital to adopt a comprehensive approach and consider linkages to enhance synergy between various topics such as SSGR, DDR, transitional justice, human rights, development, or national reconciliation. This is also true for the different flagship initiatives and programs, including Agenda 2030 and Agenda 2063, the new Agenda for Peace, as well as the AU roadmap to silencing the guns that my elder, Dr. Mohammed Chambas, is so ably leading. The UN and AU SSR policy frameworks, the post-conflict reconstruction and development policy, the PCRD, and the African peace and security architecture, all of these are to be, pulled together in order to ensure that all the needs are addressed in a comprehensive manner. In the end, it is this holistic approach and joint effort that will contribute to sustainable peace and security. This conference offers a chance to critically reflect on the implementation of SSGR on the African continent, and we should indeed salute this opportunity. It also provides an opportunity to share experiences and lessons learned in order to address more effectively the changing realities on the ground. To this end, it is crucial for all of us to work jointly to achieve our shared goals. This is consistent with the UN African Union Joint Strategic Framework for Enhanced Partnership in Peace and Security. Similarly, the UN SG report on strengthening SSR underlines the importance of partnerships with organizations such as the African Union. It is important to continue to incorporate SSR, SG, and into all these important strategic frameworks. I am convinced that the African Union, in cooperation with the regional economic communities and regional mechanisms, will continue to play an essential role in supporting and guiding SSGR efforts in Africa. The United Nations looks forward to continuing to partnership and to work together towards sustainable peace in Africa by strengthening SSGR and the whole reform effort that is underway. Let me conclude, moderator and distinguished participant, by wishing this conference every success and of course very fruitful deliberations. And I thank you for your kind attention.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and now the speech of my brother, Commissioner Ambassador Bankole, who says, "It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this conference on decade of implementation of the AU security sector reform policy framework. Security sector reforms and governance remains a vital element of the African peace and security architecture, APSA, and is recognized as an essential pre-recognition condition for good governance, conflict prevention, post-conflict reconstruction, and peace building. Security sector reforms and repurposing of security institutions and agencies is also a crucial enabler of the efforts required to silence the guns in Africa, to create the peaceful and secure Africa envisioned in Aspiration 4 of the AU Agenda 2063. In this respect, the AU Master Roadmap of practical steps to silence the guns in Africa by the year 2030 places emphasis on security governance. It acknowledges that the limited progress in transforming African defense and security forces into professional and disciplined national security institutions that are subject to accountable national government oversight and control has often led to eruption of or relapse into conflicts. This inevitably leads to cyclical intercommunal violence, disrupting stabilization and peace-building efforts. Re-establishment, reform, and strengthening of security institutions through comprehensive and complete disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration, that is DDR, along with SSR, constitute key priorities of the AU post-conflict reconstruction and development policy, PCRD of 2006. This paved the way to the adoption of the AU policy framework on SSR by the 20th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the Union held in January 2013. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, since the adoption of this AU policy framework on security sector reform, the Commission has persistently worked to promote and support its implementation. The work of the Commission has revolved around three pillars. One, providing direct assistance to member states embarking on security sector reform. Two, production of knowledge tools and building human capacities. And three, facilitating coordination and dialogue among regional and international actors, providing SSR support in Africa. Recently, upon request, the AU Commission has provided SSR support to member states in political transitions and in post-conflict contexts, as well as in the framework of conflict prevention, including to the Central African Republic, Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, the Gambia, Lesotho, Madagascar, Mali, South Sudan, and Somalia, among others. The support ranges from designing, implementation, and coordination of nationally led SSR processes. All support factored in the essential role of women in security governance and sustaining peace. In this regard, the Commission has developed an operational guidance note on gender mainstreaming in security sector reform and rolled out its dissemination to member states and regs. As part of the efforts to enhance coordination in SSR, on the African continent, the AU Commission established a triannual SSR Africa Forum and an annual steering committee where the AU, REX, the UN, and international partners can jointly identify priorities, align their approaches, and provide guidance to member states on ways and means to enhance and streamline security sector governance in all aspects of conflict prevention and resolution. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to also underscore that on its part, the Commission has given particular attention to engaging the civil society on SSR within the AU SSR framework and the principles and objectives of the Livingston Formula. In this regard, the Commission has enhanced collaboration with the Economic, Social and Cultural Council, ECOSOC, and the African Security Sector Network, ASSN, and launched a project to build the capacity of civil society organizations to effectively participate in security and justice sector reforms. The role played by civil society, particularly the ASSN, in supporting the development of the AU SSR policy framework prepared the ground for the continued cooperation in the implementation phase. We take this opportunity to thank ASSN, represented here by Dr. Niagalé Bagayoko, for the role played by the ASSN in supporting AU in the designing of this robust policy and its implementation. However, I wish to hasten and register that despite the efforts deployed in the implementation of the AU SSR framework for the last 10 years, its effectiveness has faced a number of socio-political and technical challenges, resulting in its slow implementation and limited impact in improving the delivery of security services that contribute to resolving the growing security threats, particularly terrorism, violent extremism, and unconstitutional changes of government. Subsequently, the 16th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of African Union, held in Maputo on 28 May 2022, also raised concern in the increase of aforementioned security threats, which are mostly related to security governance deficits. In framework of the UN and AU Partnership on Peace and Security, the AU Commission attended the UN Security Council meeting held in March 2023 under the chairmanship of Mozambique, which focused on security sector reform in the context of international peace and security. During the meeting, the AU Commission recommended the need to undertake a critical analysis of concrete outcomes and challenges after 10 years of implementation of the AU SSR policy framework, which I'm pleased to note that today's conference will delve into more substantively and receive updates from member states undertaking security sector transformation and reform. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to partners who collaborated with the Commission to organize this event, particularly the UN Office to the African Union, represented by His Excellency Parfait, who is here with us and who has made very timely and thought-provoking remarks, which, as we have been told, I'm sure will be part of the working documents for this meeting. And also the ASSN, as I have already indicated, Just Future Alliance, the Institute for Security Studies Training for Peace, ISS, TFP, and the African Policing Civilian Oversight Forum, AFCOF. I would particularly also wish to acknowledge the commendable efforts of the member states, including the Gambia, Lesotho, Madagascar, Mali, and South Sudan, who will be sharing their valuable experiences in implementing SSR in their countries in the recently concluded study conducted with support of the Institute for Security Studies, ISS. The outcomes of the studies will be discussed in this conference, and final recommendations shall feed into a briefing to Peace and Security Council, PSC, and the Political Affairs, Peace and Security, PAPS, intends to hold early in 2024 in response to the communique of the 874th PSC meeting held in September 2019. It is expected that the PSC will provide necessary strategic guidance and the way forward. On behalf of the AU Commission, I thank all esteemed member states who accepted our invitation to attend this important conference and to share their experiences and lessons learned in order to promote the principle of finding African solutions to African security threats and challenges. Our gratitude also goes to international partners who have played and still play a key role in the AU SSR policy implementation, including, of course, the United Nations, European Union, the Geneva Center for Security Governance, among others. I look forward to receiving practical conclusions from the conference, which should enable us to provide technical and material support to Member States' security guidance initiative. Message of Commissioner Bankole Adjoye, and I thank you.